Howdy folks, welcome to Retsutalk episode 55. Slowbeef has drugged me kicking and screaming away from Dark Souls 2, which I've spent the better part of the last 48 hours playing. How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing okay. I'm actually ecstatic right now.
Good. Is that because of our guest, fellow Southerner, probably the first and last fellow Southerner we'll ever have on this podcast? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Sterling.
Hello, hello.
I'm going to edit in some applause and shit after this.
Oh, love that. That would be lovely. It's no less than I deserve.
I think I heard some, strangely, is the thing, but go on.
It's probably my entourage. I don't podcast without them. Yes. It's unusual to be regarded as a Southerner, actually, but I guess I've...
Well, you sound it, so...
Yeah, I feel like I've picked up a bit of an accent.
You're in Mississippi, right?
I am, yes.
As an Alabamian, I have so much to thank your state for.
Yeah, it does seem to take a lot of the heat. A lot of that sort of stuff sloughs off over here.
How long you been there now?
About 5 years now.
5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Have you been here long enough to look down on New Jersey yet?
I don't think our state quite qualifies. Almost.
Wow.
Almost, but, you know, maybe when we stop the whole Celebrate a Racist Day, then we might be on track.
Thank you, Mississippi.
We do.
America's saving grace.
See, I thought New Jersey was America's armpit. Damn. Well, we're usually regarded as that.
Mississippi's kind of the taint, I think.
Oh, I see. What is Alabama, then? That's got to be an unpleasant part.
The second taint.
Oh. The taint under the other taint.
Yeah.
The taint fold, more or less.
There are layers to it.
The brother taint.
Yeah.
How you doing this fine evening?
Not too bad. I recorded my own rubbish podcast that I do every week. That came out wrong. It said my own rubbish podcast, as if to imply that this is also a rubbish podcast.
Would you like... No, this is totally a rubbish podcast. I gotta start using the term rubbish now. Let me ask, do you want to plug your rubbish podcast now for the people at home who maybe don't know of it?
Probably shouldn't be inflicted on, like, human people.
Okay.
But, I mean, yeah.
Who downloads your podcast, then?
It's the worst. Just the worst. Shattered, broken individuals.
Our stream it is the thing.
Yeah. But no, it's been a busy week, obviously, with the whole Dark Souls and Titanfall coming out and all that. So, yeah, busy week, a lot of work to do, tired, but happy to be on and raring to go.
Excellent. I do want to tell you about a ground rule I'd like to introduce to this podcast for the folks at home, because I don't actually want to talk about Dark Souls 2, the video game per se, but I do want to bring it up as a subject. This is going to sound weird. So, I'd like to challenge you both to keep it spoiler free. What do you think? I haven't told either of you about this plan.
That's no problem for me, because I'm obviously waiting for the real version to come out.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, I've not played the console version, because I want to play it in a resolution for adults, you know?
That's fair.
Even though I do now have a PC that can play it, I am basically have no patience whatsoever. I need to have my cake before dinner, and I did get the console version. And because I got Dark and Demon Souls from a retailer, I'm going to buy the PC version as well, so From Software gets my money.
Nice.
I went for a nice compromise. I rented the console version from Redbox and trying to play it as quickly as possible before I return it, then buy the PC version.
What I meant by that was, apparently I became aware of this today, the console retail release of Dark Souls, much as I like it, apparently does not match up to the demo and the beta, which is something you talked about on a Jimquisition, I believe.
Yes. I'm actually a little disappointed because the Dark Souls thing didn't happen until after I'd done the video.
Yeah.
And I stayed up till midnight editing that video, so I'm not going back to do it again.
Right, no, that makes sense.
So instead I've just got to link to the other one and say, this is all about Watch Dogs and Aliens, Colonial Marines and all the other shit. But just pretend I said Dark Souls in a few places, it more or less works out.
Right, no, yeah. Well, because it is something you bring up, the whole, like, bullshot trend and everything like that, where these people are doing this thing. Well, they show off the media and then it doesn't match the product at the end of the day. Now, because I have a twist to that, let me ask you this. Do you think we should give any sort of leeway or whatever for, let's say, you're developing the product and then one day your programmers come up to you and they say, look, we can't have this lighting with and keep a 60 FPS or a 30 FPS. Just cannot happen. What do we do? And you have to compromise something.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. I mean, obviously, one expects situations to change. I mean, we all saw the stuff with BioShock Infinite, where they had whole gameplay sections that didn't make it in the game when it released. It got away with it because, at least in my opinion, not in the opinion of everyone, but it's certainly in my opinion, the BioShock Infinite turned out to be a fairly brilliant game. So that was okay. You then compare it to something like, say, Colonial Marines, which not only was unrepresentative in its lead-up stuff, but was also just utter shite. It becomes an issue. I think Dark Souls obviously is still getting a lot of good reviews. It's still clearly a really good game. Gameplay is obviously more important than graphics, and art design is more important than graphics, and Dark Souls has always had a wonderful visual, artistic design. If things are unrealistic, then sure, one can understand that. If you're still promoting the game, knowing that what you've been showing is unrealistic, and you're still showing the unrealistic stuff, that's when you start treading into, fuck weasel territory.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, Dark Souls 2's website is still showing the stuff that's unrepresentative of the final game. In a similar way. Yeah, it was a similar thing with Colonial Marines, their official site. In fact, maybe to this day, still shows screenshots and some video footage of stuff that's just totally unrepresentative of the final product, and that clearly should be, in any rational person's mind, not okay.
Well, you know what? And I have a vote here. Tell me if you agree with this, the both of you, that to punish From Software, let's just spoil all of Dark Souls 2 right now. No, I'm kidding. But don't do that. That's terrible.
Every time they don't live up to their promises, we take away 10% of the revenue they make on the game, up to 50% penalty.
How are we enforcing that?
Oh,
okay, got it. No, well, yeah, like you said, too. And by the way, the rest of this podcast, we're just going to be parroting everything you've said on Jimquisitions, more or less. But
well, that's fine. I parrot everything I say on older Jimquisitions in new Jimquisitions, so it's fine.
Shelving any salient points or interesting discussion, because I have shiny bauble syndrome. Is Alien Colonial Marines worth playing just for how fucking bad it is? Allegedly is. I haven't played it.
It's not one of those so bad it's good experiences. It's not entertainingly bad. I can forgive an entertainingly bad game. I've got a soft spot for a lot of the shit that I play on my rubbish, pissy little YouTube channel. But it's not, like, it's 4 hours long, and it's just, this is sad. It's just sad. And I know part of that's because I'm a big Aliens fan, so I obviously was very excited for it, and I believed things that Gearbox's Randy Pitchford said to my face. But it's just mostly boring, and the few funny glitches and the few funny fuck-ups are all very publicly available on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of your rubbish shit YouTube channel, though, I have to say, you started this relatively recently, am I right? Didn't you, not avoid the YouTube thing until maybe a few months back, or am I wrong there?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, I had the channel for years and didn't do anything with it, and then got bored, basically. And it was actually with Colonial Marines. I did it on Destructoid's channel originally. The Stasis Interrupted DLC came out, and I said, well, morbid curiosity compels me to play it. I might as well do what basically everybody else is doing, and copy them and do a Let's Play type thing. And that's actually turned out fun to do. I see why people do it, because a lot of the work's already done. You've just got to chat shit for upwards of 10 minutes, and that's fine.
See what your unrelenting opinions have done? You've pulled the wool off everybody's eye. It's the truth. Let's Play is just very easy to do, and that's why we like it.
Yeah, I mean, I won't claim it's not. It's certainly difficult to be entertaining and engaging. There's a reason why only a few people are actually doing good Let's Plays.
It's difficult to do well,
yeah,
but not hard to do.
There's a reason why retsupurae exists, because it's not easy to do it and not sound like an escaped patient from somewhere. It actually takes a little bit of work to do that. And not only that, but to play the game to a decently watchable degree while talking at the same time. It's not rescuing people from burning buildings, but it is like, doing the old patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time.
Same result.
It takes a little bit of a thing. Yeah, more or less.
I would say Retsupurae is at least morally as good as saving people from burning buildings, if not the same amount of effort, but... Well, except in this case, you're taking a bit of burning debris from the building and just dumping it on people's doorsteps and saying, look at that! But saving them by at least showing them the dangers of fire.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks to Retsupurae, I unplug my Christmas tree every year before I go to bed.
That is all I ever wanted.
Just a big public service announcement.
By the way, because you have... I want to plug one of your things, by the way, because you did remind me of it via Christmas tree. Not this week's Rhyme Down you did with Yahtzee. The previous one, where you were mocking a certain Let's Player, is one of the funniest damn things I ever saw.
Oh, thank you.
If you haven't seen it at home, please watch this. It is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's it's a show I do with the Yahtzee called Jim and the Yahtzee's Rhyme Down Spectacular. We do poems every week, and yeah, I did one called The Dark Side with a Y. And
yes.
Yeah, that was a laugh. I was actually rewatching the How Not to Play Metal Gear Solid 3 video.
Rewatching it.
Which, it has to be a yearly tradition in every young American's home, surely.
It's really A Christmas Story of Let's Play.
There's a whole group of them. They're called, because I know that the Metal Gear ones were done by a guy named called Evil AJ, but then a few other people have done, this is how you don't play Dark Souls, Street Fighter. It's so awesome. Yeah,
and I got, no ill will against the guy. I just find him fascinating.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's engrossing and obviously easy to parody.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just great. I mentioned it last week, too. I'm like this ironic fan now, because I just cannot wait to see what the next thing is.
He's so easy to parody that he kind of does it himself.
It's great. I love it. I will talk about it constantly.
You showed me that clip where he pretends to play games, and...
Oh, God, that is awesome!
I was agape.
He had a video, which actually, I'll be frank, I thought the first 6 minutes or so were, fairly well done for him. It was his Christmas special. Have you seen this?
I don't think so, no.
So he does, he basically did a little sketch then. He rewrote the lyrics to, Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Oh, is this the one where he was talking about the people that make comedy videos about him and
yeah, the haters and the trolls.
I watched like a few minutes of it and then just kind of walked away dismayed. But yeah, I saw a bit of that.
So around the 6-minute mark, he starts reading his own fan mail, which is a little self-serving, to be honest, but also to show what like the true Christmas spirit or whatever it is. But then he decides to pantomime playing a video game off camera with the camera on him. But it's very clear he's not playing the game. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. It's 7 minutes, 20 seconds into his Christmas special. It's like better than you can than you have imagined it to be.
It's better than Christmas.
Yes, it is. I very highly recommend it to you and everyone listening if you haven't seen it.
I will have to check that. I didn't get that far in, but I will have to check that out.
It's just great because he's like, yeah, and it's very clear he's acting and not playing, but it's awesome.
People like him, though, they upset me on a professional level, because on the Jimquisition, I play a very egotistical, self-serving, smug version of myself. And then I hear about people reading out their fan mail in a way to snub people that don't like them and just think, I can't do that, teach me.
I know, it's weird how that happens. And I think the thing that's so great about Phil is that he's so unaware of it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think it's coming through his mind like, or maybe it is like secretly like, oh, I'll show them I have fan mail and therefore I have fans. To him, I think he just doesn't get it. It's like, yeah, this is part of my Christmas special. I don't know, like, I'd like to say...
It's a long time to be so clueless.
I know, it's awesome!
But yeah, like you said, fascinating at the same time.
It keeps happening. I love it. Yeah, he gets a bunch of hate, and Or not
yeah,
really
yeah.
hate,
I
but-
don't hate the guy at all.
No.
You know, it's entertaining viewing, really. And at the end of the day, that's what people are doing on YouTube, is to try and be entertaining, and he can do it, and thumbs up to him to...
Yeah, he's one of the few people that does it well.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, he does it.
He does it, yeah. He does it frequently.
He does something well.
He's a
maybe.
fuck sight more popular than I am on YouTube, so hats off to him.
That, by the way, for talking about such a rubbish YouTube channel or whatever, you're actually doing better than I am, and I've had that channel, my personal channel, I mean, for a while. Not Retsupurae, we're still gold. No, I'm kidding.
It's just because I used to be on Destructoid. That'll peter out soon.
I understand. No, no. Actually, the Dark Side Phil is also beating Retsuprey, but I think we're gaining on you, Phil. Watch it. No, I don't care. The whole subscriber thing, I think, is kind of this like sort of weird dick measuring contest, but it doesn't really seem to mean a whole lot. You know, like I'm looking at your view count, and that all looks like fine and stuff you'd get from, you know, a channel with like, you know, twice as many. So, you know what I mean? Like, it never seems to do anything. I don't know why, because even YouTube gives it some credence. Like, if you get, what is it, 10 million or 1 million? No, 1 million subscribers, they give you a golden play button.
I think it's 100. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what?
100,000 subscribers, you get a silver play button.
Oh, silver, okay.
Yeah,
And then-
maybe higher than that, you get the gold one.
I thought I heard about the gold one. Maybe it's like the Black American Express card, where it's
Yeah.
like kind of real and kind of not kind
Like,
of
it's
thing.
bullshit, but I kind of want one. Because I saw Gavin Dunn, Miracle of Sound. He got one recently. And I'm like, that's such shit. But I don't have one. I don't have one. And that's even worse.
So if we need to talk about what we're gonna do when we get that,
We're at 90, so, you know. I
cut it in
promised...
half.
I promised on one podcast if I got the golden button, I would throw it out a window. So I'm unfortunately sort of obligated. I haven't said
You're
anything.
gonna throw it out of a first story window and then frame it and hang it up somewhere.
I got to figure out what we will do if we do get that silver one at 100,000. But
You just have to mail it to each other. Just
every
once
so
a
often.
month, yeah.
It's my weekend, Slow Beef.
It's like it's like
Send
a
me the
custody.
silver thing.
Give me the play button, you douche!
We have shared custody.
Wait, does that mean Phil has a silver play button?
He might do.
Oh my God, he's got like 1,000 channels.
This could be
though.
the beginning of the greatest heist of all.
Make it. That's his.
Seriously, I'll get the grappling hook.
I have a plan to get all of these valuable plaques.
He has 155k subscribers. He must have it. Oh, and he's got to have a video about receiving it. He films everything he does. Damn it, I didn't think we'd have another fucking podcast about Dark Side Phil, but here it is.
So let's play in reality TV colliding.
He also has a special Valentine's Day message, which is
The real
great,
dark
by the way.
sides of YouTube or something.
The real dark side starts here.
Yes.
Speaking of getting shit, though, the thing I wanted to ask you about, I had an experience happen to me somewhat recently, where I made a joke about Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns.
Oh dear.
And Beatus and I had a little back and forth on Twitter about it. And to be fair, I've never played Lightning Returns. I'm just kind of going off reviews and making silly comments about it.
Going
and
off
stuff.
general reception and just treating the game like it's garbage with dumb tweet jokes.
Yeah, but really, like, I mean, I don't think anyone looks to me for video game like what should I buy this game or not type of advice.
You'll change your tune once you get that plaque.
Now that's true. Now you, on the other hand, you're a tried and true video game reviewer. You have strong opinions on video games. With the amount of fan outrage and such you must get, how have you not quit this industry like years back or anything? How do you hang on?
I think I said after Phil Fish did his thing when he quit the industry, I came out and basically said that I've considered that like several times, easily several times. And I honestly, because I get asked a lot, like, how do you deal with it? How do you cope with it? Because obviously I get a lot of abuse online and whatnot. And some of it, most of it has basically become boring. Like, you deal with that for, I've been doing this rubbish for like 7 years now. After a while you hear it all. You hear most of it. And it gets very, very boring and dull. And it just becomes banal. And that's one way of dealing with it, is just, you don't have to revisit it anymore because you've seen it all before.
Gotcha.
Obviously now and then some things still do come out. There's, especially when people go after, say, members of my family and stuff like that. You know, I've read and seen some just truly borderline horrific stuff said online, and it's difficult, but I don't know how I deal with it. I guess I'm very lucky to be in that position where I'm not, say, up there with your Total Biscuits or whatever's. I'm kind of below them, but still decent enough to have a nice cult following, and that generally means that the really nice positive stuff comes through quite loud and clear. Plus, over the past few years, as I've kind of examined my own contributions to the gaming, for want of a better word, community and games media and whatnot, and I've kind of re-examined my positions there, and I've outwardly done my best, and inwardly as well, sort of tried to become a better content creator, a better member of the media, a better reviewer, a better person, and whatnot, and that seems to have had a very positive effect on various communities. I mean, you can say my name on Reddit now, and 50% of the time, someone will say a nice thing, which is a huge step up from a few years ago when I was a lot more of a twat, I guess the word would be. You know, I obviously, Jimquisition has helped a lot. I became very big on consumer advocacy, which I believe very strongly in, and tackled a lot of social issues in ways that other people that tackle social issues might not be so diplomatic with, and I feel like I've earned a lot of goodwill there.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because you mentioned consumer advocacy, because you'd think from gamers, you know, you're technically on our side, really. You know, and this is something I talked about with Total Biscuit too, which is like this whole notion that like you have these people in the gaming audience that almost want to deceive each other with things, where it's like, you know, if just hypothetically, if Dark Souls 2 were terrible and, you know, just an awful thing, you'd have people still defending it and trying to undercut your opinion on the game through some sort of, you know what I mean, like. Mm-hmm. Some little like, oh, he didn't like it or whatever because of X reason. There's extenuating circumstances. His review is not objective, blah, blah, blah. Just to kind of get people on the Dark Souls train, no matter what, you know?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that just take it upon themselves to become unpaid spokespeople for companies. And that makes me sad because don't be a thrall to a corporation. Don't...
Yeah.
They don't appreciate it, and you deserve better than that. And I like to believe that game consumers deserve a lot better. And it does kind of make me sad when I go after a practice I don't like, but because the company may have some goodwill with fans and whatnot, they will defend it to the last.
Right.
I mean, this goes back even when I was less consumer-minded and was more just sort of just spouting gibberish online. I used to criticize Sony a lot. Not so much these days, because I think they're on the straight and narrow at the moment, but... Back in the PS3 days, I used to criticize their handling of the PlayStation brand and the PS3 and the PSP and Vita later, and got a lot of shit for it, but people fail to realize it's not because I'm paid by Microsoft to say that. It's not because I hate Sony. Mm-hmm. If I didn't love those brands, if I didn't love... the PS Vita is like one of my favourite devices ever made. It's why I criticize it so much. Because I feel it could do great things, and I feel it's been mishandled, at least in its early stages. So fans of those products get angry, and I'm like, but if you're a fan of that product, you should be angry as well, because you should always demand better. And customers should always demand better.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing too, you know. And I have to, and that's the other crazy thing, because even we get that, or I've gotten that, and I'm not a game reviewer. I'm no one on the fucking totem pole. But like, I was accused because I like the game Brothers a lot, and I talked it up, and somebody is convinced that I took a bribe to say that. Oh
god, that shit.
Who the fuck would pay me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just pay everyone then who bought the game? Just forget your fucking revenue stream. It's crazy, but...
Stop having positive opinions about things, expressing them.
I mean, yeah, game reviewers get accused of that a lot, of being, especially with the Titanfall thing. And now, I say this as someone who thinks the public outpouring of love for Titanfall was a bit too much. I think it's a great game, but people calling it revolutionary and stuff, and quoting the press as saying "believe the hype" in Titanfall trailers was just a bit too much for me.
Well, people really like parkour. What can you say?
Yeah. But the idea that anyone was paid to say that stuff is, from someone who's been doing this job for many years, and really it's the back end part of the job is a boring job. All you've got to do is put a few exclamation marks in sentences to sound like you're really interested in what PR's got to say, and you get your game. You play it in your underpants, and write your review about it, probably still in your underpants, at least if you're like me. And the idea that money changes hands, to me, romanticizes the job in terms of giving it this kind of conspiracy theory angle. It's such a boring job from the actual writer end of it, that really it just makes it sound more exciting than it is. No one, to my knowledge, was paid to say they like Titanfall. I think the games press are they're basically gamers who got lucky enough to land a job doing just talking nonsense on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get excited and hyped up for stuff, maybe sometimes too much, just as much as everyone else is gonna get excited and hyped up for stuff.
It's funny, too, because you even got some flack for expressing an opinion on Castlevania Lords of Shadow, or Lords of Shadow 2, excuse me, which I didn't even realize had that big a following, frankly. I know Castlevania proper does, but I always thought...
That's probably why.
I guess so, but is Lords of Shadow really in that circle? I thought everybody loved the...
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of problems with the first Lords of Shadow, and I got a lot of shit for it back in the day. People do love that series. There are a lot of people that obviously miss the old Castlevania games and aren't too fond of the Lords of Shadow stuff, but it has earned itself this weird cult following. I would say weird. I mean, it's fair enough if you love it. I mean, I find a game that manages to have Jason Isaacs play Satan and have that Satan be boring. I don't know how that's possible, let alone acceptable, but that's just me. If you love Lords of Shadow, more power to you. But yeah, it's got a very strong following.
Well, Beatus, have you played Lords of Shadow?
I have not. I haven't really played hardly any Castlevania. I still haven't played Symphony of the Night. Keep in mind.
By the way, this is the strangest thing. I looked behind me and there the game was. I'm not even fucking with you. I don't
It
know
heard me.
It knows.
It was like at the top of my DVD tower.
Who hasn't played me?
Wow, okay, now I know why people like it. No, I remember...
What is diabetes spelled backwards?
I remember beating the first boss and you meet Patrick Stewart. I mean, not the real Patrick. He's not playing himself.
That would be a 10 out of 10.
I'm a little bit... Oh, yeah, absolutely.
just Dracula's chair turns around and is just, And that's all he says. Just,
yeah.
Then the credits roll.
That's a
Game
spot
over.
on, yeah.
That's all they could afford, I think. See, how much for a roar?
Paid by the grunt.
Yeah, and I remember your character meets Patrick Stewart after you beat the first boss, and just having met the guy, he's like, well, I'm heading down over the castle. You head that way and cut him off at the pass. And I'm like, why are you just ordering this dude around you never met? And that's all I took away from the video game, really. But
Engage.
So
They just take sound clips from Star Trek. That's how they save money.
That actually is just Star Trek, truth. I just opened it and it was a DVD of Voyager Resisting. I know that's the wrong series. I didn't get so much shit for that. But anyway.
You put Voyager in your Symphony of the Night case?
Excuse me, Lords of Shadow.
Oh.
And do you know, I think that was that one of the first games when Kojima stepped up as, because I see the Kojima Productions logo on this.
Yeah, apparently Kojima's name was attached to the project, but according to anonymous things coming out of Mercury Steam, he had very little involvement in it. It was mostly for PR purposes.
So it has a sane story.
Well, did you hear the part I just mentioned?
It's a very dull story, really. Both of them are just kind of, nothing happens in them. You got Robert Carlyle being a guy who's just like, oh, there's a vampire over there, and then that's that.
Well, you know, it's weird too, because I think, what was it, Aria of Sorrow, I think was the first one. That one, the Castlevania games for me, I loved them growing up. I never cared a lot about the story. Like, enough to be like, okay, that's Alucard, that's the woman from the game I never got to play because it only came out in Japan, and da-da-da. But, like, yeah, Aria of Sorrow, I did remember liking the little twist in it or whatever, But that's about, I think, as far as you can take a Castlevania story, is like one or two little kind of twists. You know what I mean? Like making sort of cutscenes out of it, like long ones. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you play a Castlevania game, you expect to see Dracula like ham it up a bit. You know, he'll overact and talk gibberish, and then a skeleton will throw a bone at you, and you're done. That's fine. That's all I need.
That's all I want. You know,
But
let me throw an axe at a bat. That's all. In fact, that could be the whole game, frankly, and you've sold me on Castlevania.
But Lords of Shadow 2, you are Dracula. You are powerful. Now turn into a rat and sneak past these enemies, because now we're a stealth game. Deal with it.
But that's like the thing, and I've read not even just your review, but all the reviews are like, you fight like these giant demon things, but then a dude's got a machine gun, and it's like, I can't handle that.
There are these grunts that appear at the beginning of the game, and Patrick Stewart says, they're too strong for you. You're not powerful enough to fight them. You turn into a fucking rat or something. You turn into a rat. And later
That's
on
why
in the
he's
game...
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Absolutely. Towards the end of the game, you still have to sneak past him. Dracula is never powerful enough to take on those grunts. Why aren't those grunts fighting Satan? They're clearly better than Dracula.
My immortality has limits.
I mean, that's another thing. He bangs on and on about how he's immortal. Just, I want to die. It's all horrible. I can't die. And yet, there's no game mechanic to support the immortality. If he dies, he dies. Just run up to the guys with the machine guns, and there you go. Problem solved.
It's a little thing called cutscene immortality.
Yeah.
You'd think they could have just taken a note from, like, Dark Souls or whatever and incorporated that into the story. Mm-hmm. Like, he's immortal. He can't die, so that's why he's back at the checkpoint or something.
That would require some thought. And and to be honest, like, considering how derivative the game really is, it's just... It seemed just a bit too out of left field for them to think about.
I think I want to give Lord. Now I actually have somehow looped around and want to give Lords of Shadow another chance now that I.
Well, the thing is, it's really not a bad game. Considering the rumors about the development hell it was in, it's a miracle it's as good as it is. It's a solid game. I mean, the combat's decent and everything. It's just very long-winded, very uneventful. It's just a kind of dull game, and yeah, I just found it to be subpar. It was.
Yeah, I hear. I'll have to, it had if I remember correctly, it had a little element of Shadow of the Colossus in it, which I never played, honestly, and I keep hearing is like...
I need to play that too.
I keep hearing it's one of the best games that there is, but...
I don't get those games. And I've expressed this before. I'm quite sad about it, because hearing people talk about Echo and Shadow of the Colossus, to me it's like a guy with no legs seeing people try on great shoes. Because I really want to get into it, and I'm jealous of people that love those games, and I can tell they're beautiful and well crafted and very good at what they do. I've tried many times to play them, and it just kind of I described it once as oil on water. Like, it just doesn't sink in at all, and I hate it because I really want to like them, but yeah, I don't get it, and I wish I could.
I have the feeling I might like it because I'm a big fan of bosses in video games, and in fact, that's like the icing on the cake for me. Like, I had a friend who said he hated bosses, and now I don't speak to him anymore, because why would you?
Yeah.
And now he's your boss, which is weird.
That is kind of weird, actually, that you mention it. But, like, or even when they do boss rushes, I have my video game ejaculation moment. That's my favorite thing, is boss rushes. But to have a game that is just pretty much like you have these giant bosses, it seems like it would really appeal to me. But I just want to piss off Shadow of the Colossus fans by saying I refuse to play it.
Well, if you were going to do that, I wouldn't have been so diplomatic in my assessment.
I will hurt myself to hurt you. Not you personally. People listening is the thing. They don't get that. Oh my. I want to bring up a little bit of Let's Play news for people. Something that happened today in the world. This is I know, it's crazy. I don't know if you're partnered with Maker, Jim.
I am currently, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if this is. I'll bring up the headline or whatever, and we'll see where it goes. But apparently, there is some rumors going around that Disney is in talks to buy Maker to the tune of $500 million. I just took a sip of iced tea to let that sink into everyone.
So what does that mean?
That means Jim Sterling is a millionaire. No,
If Disney would like to buy my channel for $500 million, they can have it.
It's interesting though because I know Maker does though, if I'm correct here, make things besides video game content. But I mean that is a lot of what we know them for or whatever. And a lot of people are getting kind of worried about what sort of possible restrictions they could put on videos, how they're going to deal with copyright, especially because Walt Disney as a company is a very, very strange when it comes to copyright.
Now, if you want to do Let's Plays in your scare cams, you have to do an impression of Robin Williams and have a picture of Genie up there.
No, because if you do, they'll absolutely stomp on you, is the thing. No, Disney is, so, it's a little weird because lately with the movie Frozen, apparently, they've been kind of letting things go on YouTube. It's a very hands-off type of thing. So people do stuff with the music, the imagery, and they're not doing anything about it.
It's not unwise. It's a savvy move.
Right, absolutely. Well, it's that or the buyout?
The letting things slide. I mean, it's good that it sounds like Disney's kind of getting YouTube and kind of understands the benefits of it.
Right. They're sort of renowned for protecting their IP, like especially like things like Mickey Mouse and stuff like, you know. So I'm in New Jersey and we have the Jersey Shore, and if you ever go to our boardwalks, we have a lot of knockoff shit. Like, fake Pikachus everywhere. Like, back when Pokemon was big, they had, like, curvy...
Like you have Mikey Rat or something like that?
No, that's the point I'm getting at. They had, like, fake everything else. Like, Nintendo isn't going to spend the money to stomp out, you know, little Pokemon knockoffs out in the Jersey Shore or whatever. Fucking Disney will.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are stories of children's hospitals having to repaint walls because Disney gets involved.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. They are really, really strict about that kind of stuff. And, I mean, you know, I guess, in a way, you could arguably even say Walt Disney was pretty much the Walt Disney Corporation was founded on Mickey Mouse and I don't think you could really say that, but whatever. So I kind of get it, but...
I own your asses!
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of people are a bit worried about if that acquisition goes through, what it might mean for video game content, the stuff that Maker's putting out, things like that.
Yeah, the only worries I saw were that PewDiePie was going to star in the next Disney movie.
No fucking way. Not going to happen.
It's going to be Total Biscuit.
No, it's... I could...
I'm the prettiest princess of them all.
WTF is this hunch on my back?
Damn it. Or him and PewDiePie in a buddy cop kind of thing. Oh my god.
A Tango and Cash remake.
I have to write the script for that.
See, now you're seeing the savvy behind Disney's move.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion, which I know everyone wanted, is I'm going Occam's razor, and I'm just saying if they want to acquire it, it's probably just due to the fact that they think it's going to be profitable in like 10, 20 years down the road. You know, and they're willing to lay out that money now.
They got some of the biggest channels under their wing. If you can get all them by buying one company, it kind of makes sense. You can just sit on that little nest egg.
Yeah, YouTube can show them the world.
Yeah. Motherfucker. It's funny though, because I was thinking about things like, you know, I wonder if they might pull some shit where you say something that they do own, like, I don't know. I just threw out Kingdom Hearts as like a silly example. But anything that has the Disney IP, they said, no, unless you're with Maker, you know, you can't put out these videos. We're going to content ID you or something like that. That said, this kind of is going to dovetail into another topic I want to bring up, which...
Is it going to dovetail or is it going to DuckTales into another topic?
It's going to do both. I don't know if you were aware, but there are... I've talked about day one Let's Play, meaning like people who come out with a full... like if they start full walkthroughs of a product the day it's released, which I'm kind of iffy about, honestly.
Or the day before, somehow.
That's kind of where I'm going with this, because apparently a few Let's Players got review copies of games, kind of pre-cooked their Let's Plays, meaning did the recording with the commentary, and had it ready to go midnight of release day.
And the whole thing all at once?
No, which is... because then, like, when I first heard about that, I'll be honest, I was kind of like, that seems kind of shitty, because if you wanted to buy the game at midnight, you logistically speaking, you can't. You could technically wait in line outside some 24-hour thing like a Best Buy, but most people have to wait till the next day, whatever.
Well, Slowbeef, let me ask you this. I noticed a lot of reviewers posting their reviews at midnight of the game, so what makes Let's Play different than that? What makes that bad versus posting reviews immediately?
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I was also thinking, as long as it's not the full playthrough, as long as even if it is the start of one, I guess you only have the first couple, I don't know, let's say the first hour or so of gameplay. Maybe that's not so bad,
So if your video was 90 minutes.
I know. I lived long. I'll explain that in a minute, I'm sorry. But, or I'll explain it now, whatever. I made a video called Until First Death, which is I played Dark Souls as long as I could without dying. And I made it 90 minutes, so, hey. There you go, everybody who hated me playing Dark Souls.
That's a smart idea. That's actually something a little original with Dark Souls.
I wanted to make it new. We were going to have a contest called Last Hollow Standing, where we were going to have like 4 people or more even on a Skype call, and maybe do like a quad screen kind of thing. And that got kind of hard to coordinate, and I don't do this for a living, so once I have one of these ideas, and then like a week later, I'm like, what was I thinking of last week? Who cares? But at any rate, so yeah, and I made it 90 minutes. I'm proud to say. No, but the one thing that kind of that did actually kind of worry me about the state of Let's Play is there was a leaked copy of Dark Souls. Someone ripped their review copy of it. Dark Souls 2, I mean, and so there actually
The lighting was great.
The lighting was. There actually was a full playthrough by the time release day was there. Someone posted their Let's Play 5 days early, basically. And now there's a whole playthrough commented, a whole playthrough uncommented on the guy's channel and everything. So, Let's Players nowadays, especially the bigger ones, are kind of doing this whole competition kind of thing. They want to get the scoop on each other. So, it's coming down to, like, review copies, and now I don't want to go so far as to say, like, but, people are, like, someone's using a leaked copy, more or less, to, like, try to outscoop them. Do you think maybe this is going to start going the way of people trying to make exclusive content, meaning...
It's already happening.
Really?
Yeah, to quote the Cylons, this has all happened before, and this will all happen again.
Holy shit. I didn't even think of that angle.
This is games journalism 5 years ago. It's all happening again. This whole rush to be first, exclusive little thing, the companies favouring more influential content providers, less influential ones kind of breaking the rules so they can try and be first. I've seen all this with the difference between established games journalists and games bloggers. This war has been going on forever. And there are, exclusivity things happening. There was a while back I was doing, I wanted to do a video of Among the Sleep, that horror game that's coming out where you play the child. And I had to only post that video on The Escapist because PewDiePie's sort of group of people had kind of first dibs on that on YouTube. So it was kind of exclusive insofar as they were the only people on YouTube for a time that could show Among the Sleep. And I fully expect to see that happening more and more. As publishers sort of latch on to the idea of the popularity of YouTube and rush to control that message as well as they try and control messages elsewhere. So yeah, it's happened before.
So publishers are watching Let's Plays?
Absolutely.
And like from a standpoint of how far does their sphere of influence go versus X Let's Player, so let's leak them this and so on?
I think it's I wouldn't say it's about leaking Let's Players things. It's more about, say...
Review copies?
A lot more Let's Players are going to get a lot more review copies. It's been a struggle. I know Total Biscuit's had a long struggle doing this, but you can see like the amount of game videos he has up on or around embargo breaking for traditional media is increasing because companies are paying more attention. And to be honest, they rightfully should. But this whole war to be first, this war between exclusivity and channels getting world exclusive reviews and stuff, as we've seen with companies like IGN and whatnot have had those in the past, we're going to probably see a lot more YouTube channels get that. And it's just going to become a kind of... it's going to become a competition of who can play ball with companies the most.
So you are the oracle in this situation here.
I like to consider myself the oracle in many situations.
All right. What's happening? What's the future like? Where is this leading? Where has it led?
I really think basically the way we're looking at things on the internet was a long time ago. Everything was splintered and fractured, and everyone had their own little walled garden and whatnot. But everything's kind of conglomerating. Everything's buddying up and merging, and I think the idea of disparate blogs is disappearing as companies merge and get bought out. The idea of even disparate sites and social networks are eroding as Google kind of controls everything on one side, and Microsoft and other companies try and control everything on the other side. And we're seeing it with YouTube as well as we've seen with kind of networks like Maker and Machinima and all this kind of stuff. Everything's sort of conglomerating and becoming, rather than YouTube is a place where millions of channels exist, it's going to be a place where some channels still remain independent, but it's mostly a battle between networks. And as I say, I see YouTube right now following in many footsteps of traditional games media, where once YouTube was hailed as a place where real gamers with real honest opinions could be trusted over and above those payola games reviewers. Now we hear about videos where people are promoting the Xbox One because they were paid by Microsoft to promote the Xbox One, and this kind of stuff. And I think I certainly wouldn't accuse the YouTube content creators of this, but I've got no problem accusing actual companies like Microsoft and their ilk of understanding that these YouTubers have an increased level of trust, and where there's trust, there can be exploitation. So is it possible I could now compliment the Xbox One and get some money? I really think you're going to want to have a word with Machinima and see what they're willing to kick your way.
Maybe I should do that just in case. The Xbox One is my favorite system.
More like Xbox Fun.
Xbox Fun. Xbox One as in the console wars.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, I'm a sellout. Actually, I don't own any of the next gens, but so that's interesting though, because yeah, if you talk about this sort of conglomeration and things like that too, and now Disney's entering the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just can't wait to be king.
It's like Smash Brothers is what I was going to say, even though it's absolutely nothing like that. But
A new challenger approaches.
I couldn't think of a good metaphor, so close enough.
New challenger approaches see Walt Disney's corpse.
That's actually going to be a sequel to Titanfall, instead of the Titan. It's just a giant Walt Disney corpse.
I heard his head is going to be an assist trophy.
I'm hoping that. Actually, that's once they buy Maker, if you get 1 million YouTube subs, that's what you get.
It's a piece of its frozen scalp.
Sold.
Oh, that wacky, that dumb Walt.
Oh, what the? Oh, goodness.
What's he done now? Has he said something anti-Semitic again? Oh, Walt!
That rascal.
What a Dumbo.
Donald gets so mad at him when he does that. Oh, God. I had something else in Let's Play news I wanted to bring up. Oh no, it was the dark. I was going to say the dark side fell. That's it. If Maker wants to buy, or if Disney wants to buy the channel that owns PewDiePie for $500 million, how much are they willing for Machinima for Dark Side Phil? Or that is to say, how much
A copy of The Frog Princess on Blu-ray.
You think even Blu-ray? I was thinking maybe they had a DVD copy somewhere to kick it out.
Oh, you can have one DVD or 2 VHS tapes.
Shinima's like, how much do you want to take him off our hands?
I think Disney would love nothing more than to absorb Darkside Phil. And if you could see me, my nose is getting bigger as I say that.
Nice. What Jim, what are you playing for fun nowadays?
Or do you play things for fun?
Yeah, actually.
I try and play things for fun. I wish I don't have much time at the moment. What am I doing with my ridiculous life?
Besides the intense Mississippi nightlife.
Nothing. Yeah, actually, I went to my local bar They installed a whole fucking slot of arcade machines up there.
Nice.
I got Turtles in Time, Simpsons, Gauntlet, a whole ton of stuff.
Oh my god, I used to love the Simpsons one.
Yeah, so that was a nice surprise for me last night. So it's not exactly a roller coaster nightlife, but it's something.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's good. And that's good enough. I'm 35 and I'm in the suburbs. I mean, that kind of thing is just, that's a late night for me. It's like, I played the Simpsons till 8 p.m. I gotta get ready for work now. But
no, I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff I do on my YouTube channel, I am just doing for fun. I'm certainly not making any real money off it. So, yeah, just playing all sorts of weird, random indie games that pop up.
I have a recommendation if you haven't played it.
Yeah.
But you probably have. Maldita Castilla.
No, I have not played that one, actually.
Yes! Okay. This guy Dectalon, who I like to talk to because he likes very difficult games and he gets very good at them is the thing, recommended it. It's not very difficult at all. It's kind of like a fan tribute to Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts,
Right.
Not nearly as bullshit as those games. Actually kind of fun. Relatively short. There's a lot of secrets to find, and you can beat it in about an hour if you know what you're doing. But it's kind of like an old 2D style side-scroller, so you do have to kind of play it a couple times to figure out what you're doing. But ton of fun. It's spelled, if you just Google on Maldita, you'll find it. It's spun by one guy named Loco Maldito, and he has another guy named Greiser87 who does the music. But he makes like games that run in that old style or look like older games,
Right. Yeah.
Purposefully, not like yeah, pretty much. So I would very highly recommend that.
Oh, I'll have to look into it then.
I think you should. No, and then I'm going to be picking up the Rambo game because I have to pick up the Rambo game.
Oh, what a delight!
I grew up with like the Rambo movies and stuff,
Yeah.
like Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
This game will make you wish you hadn't.
I was stunned.
The game sucks.
They made they incorporated Rambo 1 into the game, which no other Rambo game has had the stupidity to try. Cause no, Beatus, go ahead.
I was gonna say no other Rambo game had the stupidity to make up entire like half-hour long gameplay sections of QuickTime events and nothing else.
Like Beatus, you don't know anything about Rambo?
I have not seen any Rambo movie. I am a bad person.
You got to do that.
I haven't seen it. You guys have to do that.
You are for other reasons, but like making fun of Stallone. No, the first
natural speaking voice. Thank you.
The first Rambo movie was based on a book. It was like intended to be a serious movie where it's about like a Vietnam vet. He comes back. He's got PTSD. He's a drifter. He's being sort of hassled by the cops, and something in him sort of snaps, and he's like on the run and killing him. You know what I mean? It's like it's supposed to be kind of a dark thing, and it's like all the Rambo video games that have come out, which are all terrible, or most of them. No, yeah, they're all terrible. They always skip Rambo 1, but this new game, they decide to tackle it, so you have a lot of QuickTime events, it seems like.
Yeah.
Is the way they do that.
It's all on rails. I mean, the whole thing's an on-rails shooter, including the stealth sections. So you are sort of automatically sneaking around the forest, and then it says, get ready, and you're like, well, shit, I'm going to get ready, and then it's like, press a button, and even if you... don't get it right, if you don't get the timing right, he'll still do it. If you press the button at the right time, he will just knock them out, and then if you press it wrong, he'll just stab a knife in their chest and wobble it about all over their heart. And later on in the game, because you unlock perks and stuff to put on the character, to put on Rambo to make him better at stuff, one of which is the ability to never fail a QuickTime event. So you can just put the controller down for 20 minutes and watch him sneak around the forest, just putting cops to sleep, because that's a video game now.
And then if you talk over it, the Let's Play is pretty much done for you, is the thing.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean...
That's awesome, though.
It's an incredible... Like, that is it's the difference between, this and something like Aliens Colonial Marines. Like, this is... entertainingly good. It's not worth I think they were selling it for like $30 at the time. It's not worth that. You get it in a sale or something, it's definitely worth it for just for the sheer shock value of what it is it's doing.
Shockingly good.
prior to that, I would have said the Rambo NES game was the weirdest use of that character, because that was the one where like Rambo was throwing knives and there was a giant spider as the first boss, which is really out there as far as the Rambo movies are concerned. But then this one came along and I'm like, wow, they included Rambo 1. I don't know if that's a worse idea than the giant spider or not anymore. But I would also recommend Rambo 1 Rambo for the NES. By the way, if not for, or just watch a Let's Play of it or something, because
games like back then didn't have to give a shit.
No, yeah.
Why not have a giant spider? We can do that now.
Yeah, I mean, we need to give Rambo something to do on his way to Vietnam. It might as well be a giant spider. Or like Total Recall, the old NES game where you're fighting like short pink guys in sweatsuits, even though nothing like that happened in the movie or anything, and Acclaim would put the Total Recall name on it, and boom, they were done. Exactly. You never see that nowadays, fortunately. But.
Well, no, they're kind of hamstrung by the need to be more authentic and stuff. I mean, to be honest, if Rambo the video game had a giant spider in it that you snuck up on in the forest and could either kill or knock out, then I'd be into it.
There is a Need for Speed movie.
Is there?
Yeah.
Why?
Starring Aaron Paul.
Oh. That kind of made me a little sad to know.
No. Sorry.
I was reading an article too on everything that went wrong with the Street Fighter movie, which was apparently
the Jean-Claude Van Damme one?
Yeah. Which was like apparently everything. Like the movie was kind of cursed.
One thing wrong is that it didn't have Sylvester Stallone.
Mm-hmm. Or a giant spider.
Or the giant spider. Who could have played Blanca, frankly.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had Dr.
I love the Street Fighter movie though.
The movie?
Yeah, Raul Julia he puts the effort in. He makes it more than watchable.
He really does. You know, he was very, very ill when he made that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but apparently whenever, like, action or whenever, like, he had to do something, he just had this, like, commanding presence or whatever, even as M. Bison.
I have an ironic appreciation for the Mortal Kombat movie, the first one.
I liked the Mortal Kombat movie, the first one.
The soundtrack was bitchin'.
It's not even ironic. Not even ironic. I've talked about both these just to big myself up again. I do a movie review show on The Escapist called Movie Defense Force, where I kind of big up films that aren't looked upon too fondly or have something else that's sort of gone wrong for them critically or in some terms of appreciation. I've talked about Street Fighter and I've talked about Mortal Kombat, which I think Mortal Kombat is the best video game movie ever made.
Do you think it still holds up? Because I only saw it back when it came out.
Oh no, it holds up. We still regularly watch it over here. It's it's because Mortal Kombat as a series never gave a fuck. Like, this is a series that's like,
true.
We've got a ninja lizard. Why? Because fuck you. Because fuck you is why. And the movie kind of carried that on, whereas most movies are concerned with, well, we're doing this video game property, we've got to try and ground it more in reality, we've got to try and make it more believable. The Mortal Kombat film said, no, I like the ninja lizard. Yeah, we'll do that. And it was just...
We'll punch Goro in the nuts.
Punch Goro in the nuts. It had some decent comedy moments in it. It had authentic stuff in it. I mean, the scorpion fight the kung fu stuff is genuinely entertaining.
Yeah.
And it all takes place on a statue full of, like, half-naked... on an island full of half-naked bronzed male statues, which we dub Man Island. And taken as a subtitle for that film is very apt and enjoyable. But no, it's a genuinely good film that kind of really put more effort in making a genuine Mortal Kombat film than any other video game film's done.
I saw that movie in the theater with my brother, and the guy sitting behind me kept going, and he was like an older guy, like, in his 30s or whatever, was going, yes, when certain things would happen. And then during the Liu Kang reptile fight, which I will admit was fucking awesome, when Liu Kang at the end does the bicycle kick, which looks ridiculous, I swear to you, this guy jumped out of his chair and started yelling, yeah! It was awesome. I wish I could love something that much.
And he went on to become the world's first Let's Player.
Do you ever you'll finish him or anything like that?
No, unfortunately. No. And I think we were robbed in that movie of the mirror match. Because one of the challenges Katana says is face yourself. And then Liu Kang says something, and then he goes up, and then the next challenge is there. But anyway, that's just my own personal
They couldn't find another costume in slightly different colors.
Well, I mean, no, it's if it was Sub-Zero, you'd be set for a mirror match. But I mean, Liu Kang, like you need a shirtless guy who looks just like him. That's crazy talk.
Well, I would have done it.
Well, that is true. I didn't think of that, admittedly.
Thank you.
I never saw Mortal Kombat Annihilation though. But the one movie I do want to bring up, if you haven't seen, I'm sure you must have seen it, Jim. I don't know if you saw it, because Silent Hill. What is it?
Revelations. I saw that at the movie theater.
I saw the first Silent Hill movie.
I haven't seen
theaters.
the first one. I saw it on Netflix on my bus, and I was trying to keep myself from laughing on my bus.
Yeah, I'm actually planning to do a movie defense force on Silent Hill Revelations. Not defending it as a good film, it's a terrible film. As one of the finest accidental comedies. It's so glorious. Malcolm McDowell flopping his little old man titties about, like, it's...
You just sold me on the movie right there.
It's beyond... Like, he's wearing a mesh tank top, as far as I can see, trying to be creepy and scary. There's a spider octopus made out of doll parts. And
oh, yeah!
It's...
Made out of what
like,
parts?
mannequin doll parts. Just this... It's so fucking... It's genuinely a hilarious film.
It really is.
I will say, though, I loved the ending. When they show the prison bus and the trucker and just all these references to the games just contained in this one little ending piece was very clever. But that one genuinely clever bit at the end of some of the dumbest shit I've seen in a long time.
I think the part that sold me on it, because the beginning is pretty funny, but then they have a pop scare in it of Pop-Tarts coming out of a toaster. Mm-hmm. Like, just out of nowhere, it's a smash cut to that, and you're supposed to jump at it, and I'm like, wow, really?
My favourite bit was, I think it was another attempted jump scare, was the crazy guy on the bus that kind of creeps out Heather, and is just overacting, like, throwing his all into this, like, 3-second part on screen. I laughed so hard at that film. And then when Pyramid Head is basically a Pokemon. Basically!
Oh, it's great. She's getting it. She's not even really being attacked. Like, she's in a hallway and these guys are reaching out like barred doors, you know? So if she ducks down, they can't get to her. She could get through, but she goes like, somebody help me, and Pyramid Head comes to the rescue.
Like, at the end, he fights another monster. Like, as if Heather just shouted, Pyramid Head, I choose you, and he fucking comes out, and they have this, admittedly, a very cool, but kind of hilarious, because cool has no place in Silent Hill, fight. Right? This awesome fight scene between Pyramid Head and some fucking thing that has no reason to be... Not recognisable from the games, it's just there.
It's not him and the mannequin octopus?
It's like a rejected Cenobite. Wow.
There's a character who only exists to get killed by the spider mannequin monster. Like, you never see this character before, just out of nowhere it's there. I don't even think they give her a name, and then the monster's there, so you're like, oh, well, there you go. But the other monster is Carrie Ann Moss and with buzzsaws. And do you remember when we did Darkseid 2 and they had the behemoth, and you could clearly tell that was the thing not designed by H.R. Giger? Like, that was the thing the game designers had put in. That was that monster from Silent Hill. Like, that's the one.
That's a perfect analogy.
Like, you could just tell, like, this was not anything to do with Konami. Nobody did it. That was something that the designers of the movie came up with. Because it just doesn't fit. It doesn't look right. And it's like, just throw some buzzsaws, give her kind of a dominatrix-y thing going, and maybe paint her white. I don't know. You know what I mean? So yeah.
The audience will be too busy fist-pumping at the heel-face turn of Pyramid Head to care.
Yes. Like...
So, Sylvie, be honest, on the bus, you were the guy in the Mortal Kombat theater who was going, yeah! Yeah!
But I was having the opposite. Well, I mean, I was having that reaction, but I shouldn't have been. It's a horror movie. You're not supposed to be like, Pyramid Head, kick her ass, yeah! That's the last thing you're supposed
Silent Hill's fucking awesome!
Fuck yeah! Spring Break, Silent Hill style! No! That's not supposed to be the way! It's supposed to be brooding and horrible and frightening. Instead, it's a laugh.
Sounds like it was at least some combination of those things.
No, it's great. You absolutely should watch it. Just not not for the reasons you
Heather
should.
Mason's life is about to be turned upside down. I'm walking on sunshine. Yeah. That's how it should have gone.
It's yeah. You have to watch that movie as soon as you can.
Is it still on Netflix?
I think it is.
I
Yeah.
hope it is.
Did they force it out?
It's so good. Oh, and one more thing, because it's in 3D, and I didn't know movies did this anymore. They do things to the camera, you know, to make it like, oh, it's 3D. Like, some guy gets his fingers cut off, and for no fucking reason, they fly at the camera. There's just no reason except for the 3D. It's so good. But now the movie's not even in 3D, so now it's just like, why is that coming toward the camera?
Yeah, like it's the optimal experience. Even though it's called Silent Hill Revelations 3D, the optimal experience is in not 3D. Because that just adds to the comedy when they're just throwing things at the camera going, that made you shit your pants. And it's, not really. I'm just confused.
They do it a lot. It's awesome. Oh god.
I think this is going to have to be my movie defense for next week now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you plugged movie defense for us now because I you paid me to say this, but I will watch it. No, that's
that Disney dollars coming in.
There you go. Thanks, Uncle Walt. Just reaching into the money bin. Well, you survived the hour with Retsupurae.
Yes. A few scars, but they look cool.
You'll be getting your plaque shortly.
Absolutely, the golden
Kanji for failure.
Yeah.
It's perfect. We are so good at branding. It's not what do you call it? I want to thank you again for taking the time to do this with us.
Oh no, absolute pleasure. I told you before I'm a fan of the Retsutalk channel and everything, so it was a pleasure to be on.
You hear that, everybody? He's a fan, so you know. No, yeah, well, you know, I'm a huge fan of Jimquisition, and I read your reviews and stuff. It's so awesome. I'm glad we took the hour to do this.
Yeah, absolutely, a pleasure. Anytime.
Absolutely great, awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Right now, let's do another hour. No,
I don't need sleep.
I don't. I would, but my wife will kill me, and
Yeah.
and I'm. But all right. Well, is there anything else, Beatus? You have anything you want to plug, say, or do, or whatever?
No, I'm gonna go play Dark Souls 2.
Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. So, awesome. I may go play Dark Souls 2 also. So okay, all right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take it easy.
Later.